working with men? Are you working in a field that's predominantly men? Do you dread going to work every day because you feel unheard, unseen? You resent the way you're spoken to? You experience being belittled at work? Then this is for you, because you can change that very easily. Watch for more. Welcome back to my channel. So again, my name is Marsha Walt, and I am a transformational life coach. And I have worked in corporate for over 20 years. My background is hotel and restaurant management internationally. My first job was at a 5-star luxury resort in Jamaica. And my first horrible experience of a horrible male boss was with my first job as a cost control clerk. So I was in charge of 9 bars, top premium liquor. This was a 5-star resort, worked with celebrities. I can name a lot. And, but I won't. And my boss was this man I was taller than him. I'm 5'4". And this man made sure to make me feel stupid, that I was just only beautiful, that I couldn't do the job, that I was worthless, that I was not intelligent. This man tried everything. I would cry every single day. The reason why I didn't give up, it took me almost 2 years to land that job. Okay. And also, I am not a quitter. And my dad always say to me, you don't have to take any bad treatment from anyone. You can always come home. You can always quit. But I was like, I'm not going to quit. And so daily I would go, and it was just horrible. He wouldn't train me. The other team members were so cool. There was another guy in the office and a girl. And, they would try to help me as much as they can. But this man was just... Anyways, how I overcame that was the guy that was the manager for the storeroom were 2 guys. And one of them was like a player. Everybody was like, oh, he's such a player. And he saw what I was going through, and he said, I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to teach you something. So on my days off, I would go to work. I would go to the storeroom, being there for hours with this guy. Of course, my reputation suffered because people thought that we were hooking up, but that was not happening. And what I recognize is that once you've established respect, they don't cross the line. And so the ego, men have egos, okay? And and this is not for manipulation at all, but when you recognize that they do have an ego, and your job as a woman is the nurturer, right? We are said to be the soft, the kind one. Therefore, you nurture the ego. So by me just going in and always being polite, asking questions, it made him think that, oh, she recognizes that I am knowledgeable. She recognizes that I know my stuff. So he now wants to show me. And so I got all this free training, the ins. And I'm telling you, thanks to that guy, I was able to master this position and save liquor costs, and to the point where the GM knew who I was now, and he still didn't like it. Oh my God. And God took me out of that position. And I remember the day when I was going to leave, I got so angry one day where I wanted to fight. Like, I was just like, I am going to fight this man. Never felt that way. I grew up with my dad in a good home with both parents. My parents have been married almost 50 years. I have brothers and cousins. I'm very comfortable with men. I've never, ever thought to fight a man, because we're told you cannot beat a man. Do not try to fight a man. So I never, but that day I felt I wanted to fight this man. And I remember I was so angry, and I was heading there, and thanks to Cheryl Yui, and I will say her name. And Boyd, you were the one that helped me in the storeroom. So since I'm saying the name, she stopped me and she said to me, never let, because of another person, you leave a job and lose who you are. And that was one of the best advice, because that job was a destiny altering job for me. That hotel was what got me to America. That was where my journey started in hospitality to propel me to university here in America, to college here in America, and my career in hospitality in America. And shortly after that, I actually got moved out of that department and had a way better boss. This was a female boss, and everybody thought she was horrible, but because I went through what I went through with that guy, oh my God, it was not an issue. Anyways, my point to you is this. That was my first experience. And then I moved to America and I started to work in corporate. And oh my gosh, I saw the major difference. Now, I didn't have horrible male bosses. I got on really well with the males. And I did recognize the complaints that women had of their counterpart, the male counterpart. Never had an issue with male. Now, fast forward to my time working in Hawaii was when I really experienced the boys club. I was the only female in my department in management, and one of the few females in management in that hotel. Now, because I didn't grow up with racism, in my head, I thought the issues that I was having was because I was a foreigner and I was a woman and I spoke with an accent. Because I was told if I want to make it in America, I have to get rid of my accent. Did not. So all the obstacles that I faced was because I forgot who I was, and I was trying to be one of the guys. I was trying to be accepted. And I guess I bought into what the other women were complaining about, and feeling unheard, feeling unseen, feeling like you are not of value, yet you are the one that is planning everything, and all they show up and get the reward. Now, what changed that for me was when I changed my energy. And what that means is, as women, we are naturally gentle. We're natural. Even the toughest girl has a softness to her. Men are naturally, they are themselves. Men don't change to be anything else. They're just who they are. And the issue is that we as women, a lot of us have experienced great atrocities by men, great injustices, great abuse by men. And we carry that in our energy field. And so every man we come in contact with senses that, feels that, and they react to that. Because men are naturally, when they feel threatened, the warrior, the conqueror, the protector comes out. When a woman feels threatened, the mama bear comes out. And what the mama bear does is just kill her, just ravish everything, tear it apart, break it down. So for example, a man in his natural way, because men are always gonna feel attracted to a woman, no matter if you cover yourself, no matter what, it's just them. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Right? So literally, the moment you put your foot outside the door, you're getting sexually harassed. Just like that. As soon as you go out in public, because men are looking at you, there's lust in there. You have no control over that. That's just it. So that's it. That's just it, right? Okay. So the man who has a wife, a kid, a whole family looking up to him, he hires you instead of Tom. He knows if he hires Tom, he doesn't have to change who he is. He doesn't have to worry about sexual harassment. He doesn't have to worry about, he can be himself. He can speak and say whatever he wants. Because a man's workplace is his place of freedom. He's able, that is where he goes to conquer and protect his staff, his people that he conquers and he protects. Okay? And so he hires you. And in his moment of not even thinking, you walk in and he goes, "Oh, what are you wearing? It smells so good. You smell really good." And right away, other days you may not say anything, but that day you may just be like, "Oh, sexual harassment." You report him, HR, he's fired. His whole family gets destroyed. His life gets destroyed. But if he had hired Tom, wouldn't have to worry about that. So I'm like painting this picture for you into your awareness of when you enter, why the boys club will not allow you in. And it's because the boys club, they want to just be themselves without having to think of changing and do anything to accommodate you. Because men don't handle inconsistencies well. And that is one of the things that they say about women, that we're so emotional and the emotional part of us makes us unpredictable. And that there's some truth to that. But if you in your workplace can establish some consistencies and predictability, you will see that it changes for you. So how do you go about healing that? So the first thing that I did was I got back into my essence, into who I am. Instead of trying to be one of the boys, I became me, a girl, a woman. I became my own woman again. And I master the things that I am good at. And I complement the things that they're good at. And I had time when I apply humility and I allow them to accept the praise, and I wait. So here's the thing. I had to go back into healing parts of myself that was still angry with that boss. So I went and I listed all the things that I disliked about that boss, how he made me feel, and I dug into where's this coming from. And if you need help with this, book a session with me. I do have a free discovery call link below. You can book a session with me and we can brainstorm, because I've worked with other clients who have experienced this and was able to help them, to women, to learn how to navigate working with men and having harmonious work relationships with men where they feel comfortable and trust you in order to be themselves, authentic self. And you were able to also be your authentic self without judgment. So I had to do that. And what I recognized was that I was going into work in my masculine energy, always in my masculine energy. But when it comes to my team, my staff, my team, I was in my nurturing. My team, they would come to me to solve anything. Even my male workers, my male chefs, they had the utmost respect for me. They cared for me. They remember what I like. They would, when I order something, they would know when I'm hungry. They say, "Oh, Miss Marsha here, let me make this for you. This is what you need. You not feel." They would just know when I walk into the kitchen. They would just know that, and that was so harmonious because I was going in as me, as my woman self, as a nurturer, not in that masculine energy. And then when I went into the office with all the men, I went in my masculine energy to be one of the boys. And you know what changed it for me? One day we had a meeting, and the meeting was so long, and I was on my cycle. Oh my God, I'm going to share this. And my sanitary napkin overflowed. And when I got up at the seat, there was, And these men who I thought never had my back were the ones that ran to the front desk, got a towel for me so I could wrap myself, did not judge me, they were like, are you okay? Do you need anything? For the first time, I saw that they cared for me, but they just didn't know how to relate to me. And in that vulnerable moment, they protected me. And I never heard any rumor from anybody. I never heard anybody, not even the team members, say, oh, you heard what happened to Miss Marsha. Nothing. Even they were even like, you're going to come back to work? I was like, no, I just need to go home and change. They saw something they never experienced before. And that shifted the relationship. And I'm not saying that you have to do that, but allowing them to see my vulnerable moment, my softness, drop the guard. And my boss, I remember whenever there was anything where I was at a disadvantage, like I was treated wrongly, all three of them would just like, we're gonna go get them. And I was like, hold on. The conqueror, the protector, the warrior is always there, because when they go to work, they're in their natural self. So what I did was I stopped fighting with them. I stopped trying to show how smart I was, because I am. So you are smart enough. That's why you landed that job. You are brilliant. That's why you got that job. You are educated. You are smart. You are worthy. You are valuable. That's why they're still paying you. That's why you're still at that company. You don't have to prove anything anymore, because what is yours will be yours. And you got to remember, you serve a higher power. We tend to forget that we are not fully in control of everything. Yes, we have a percentage of control of our life, but there's the bigger picture, the divine picture, the universal picture. Because when I change my perspective that I work as unto the Lord, that my work was my offering of praise to God, that my work represents my values, it shifted my perception. And in shifting my perception, it changed my vibration and my energy field. So I went into work as my nurturing, soft, powerful self. And that doesn't mean you accept being belittled. There's a time and a place. You can have that conversation, but also sensing the timing when your boss is in that place of receptivity. It goes back to the story of Esther. Esther knew when she needed a favor of the king. And remember, the king, if you read the Bible, Esther, the king was her husband. But Esther knew when the king saw her and was pleased with her, and he asked her, I'll give you anything you want. Esther knew not to just jump in and be like, oh, I want you to free the Israelites. He didn't do that. She didn't do that. She also ensured to create the space for him to be totally open and receptive by saying, let me cook dinner for you. Let me make a banquet for you. So again, peace offering. And then when he came to the banquet and he said, oh, I'll give you, she got him completely relaxed before she presented what she wanted. So I say this to you, getting back into your femininity, getting back into anchoring who you are, shifting your perspective and your perception will get you into the boys club. And you're not going into the boys club to be the boy. You're going in to be you, to be the woman, to be you, and bringing in the feminine energy, because that is what men need from you. Men are always out there going hard. They don't need another hard, because the moment you go in hard, their warrior, protector, conquering energy comes in. And again, our mama bear protective energy is so different. We don't strategize. We don't think. The men, they strategize and then they conquer. We just mama bear rip it all apart, and we just rip everything apart, and we don't even think of the ripple effects, because in ripping apart them, we're ripping apart parts of our lives too. So, changing your energy field, because men are very instinctive. We think because we are women, we're naturally intuitive, but men are instinctive, but they're very intuitive in their area of domain. And I will say this because I experienced that with my husband. When we had the Lahaina fire, my husband, I saw a side of him that I've never seen before, because I guess I've never been in any danger. And my husband, I couldn't envision him like he's a hunter. Oh my God, he hunted and he's Wisconsin and the bushes, da da da. But when the fire was happening and we had to flee, and my husband was just like, there was a different aura around him. There was a different energy around him. And he was just focused and protected. And all I had to do was just be. I just was be. And in my being, I stepped back into my softness so that spirit could speak to me easily. So that when he needed my intuitive guidance, I was ready. So for example, we left the house and didn't have any food. I grabbed my water bottles, but no snack, no food, nothing. And we left our house about like minutes after 4 or so in the afternoon, fleeing from the fire. And it was about 7ish. It was dark, and we were just driving away because there was the civic center where people were going as the I can't remember the name, the shelter. And we decided not to go there. He decided not to stop there. Thank God for him. So we kept going, and that shelter now, people were leaving from there because the fire was coming, and we were hungry. And I was like, we had no food, and we're driving, and he said, where should we stop? And I said, pull in over there. And in pulling it over there, there was somebody that I saw with a box for eating food. And I went to the person and I was like, where did you get that? And he said, that lady down there, they have a restaurant and they're just cooking everything up because there's no electricity, and they had gas stove, and they're cooking everything and giving away. And when I went to the lady, she had one sandwich left with some chicken tenders. And that was our meal until the next day when we went to the next shelter. That sustained us. So that was my intuition, because I was in my softness. When he needed to ask me for guidance, I was able to give him that guidance. So I say to you that you are needed in the boys' club, and you are needed in the workplace, and you are needed. But remember, going in your masculine energy is going to always activate the warrior, the conqueror, the protector. And when you have that activated in a man, it is very hard for him to relate to that, because they're alpha males. They how do I put this? When another man walks into the room, instinctively their alpha self comes up. And men just start to circle each other. And they assess each other. And then they know when to give in and when to step back up. So for example, the boss, the CEO for the company, instantly goes to alpha male status. He may not have the traits. There may be more alpha male as his employees, but these alpha males know they got to level down because he pays them. He holds their paycheck, their life in his hand, right? So my point to you is, men know instinctively how to react and relate in those instances. But our mama bear protective self rips everything apart. Being aware of this is the first step in your breakthrough. Is your first step in getting into the boys club. Follow for more if you like this. And again, you can book a session with me. I do have a discovery call link where you can book a free discovery call with me, and we can do some one-on-one, because I enjoy working one-on-one with women and men. I enjoy this. I enjoy this so much because I feel like people get to be totally open and authentic when they have that one-on-one. and they develop that level of trust and connection. And that is what you want. You want harmony in your workplace. You went to school, you studied, you found a career that you love, and you're working in your dream job, and yet it is horrible because of your male boss. We can change that. Click the link below, book a session with me, or follow for more tidbits. Aloha, malama pono, and until next time, mahalo.